for the County Board of Commissioners will be to approve the regular meeting proposed agenda. It has been presented. It is also available for the public. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Do we need to have the swearing in first?
Nope, we approve the agenda first because the oath is on the agenda.
All right, I'll make that motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second for that?
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Seeing no, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. The second order of business is to conduct the oaths of office for the 4 elected county commissioners and the 4 elected officials of Sherburne County. Joining us today to conduct the oath of office is the Honorable Judge Walter Comiskey. He will come to the front. Mr. Unze will be taking photos in addition. And we are going by district order, and so the first commissioner asked to come forward, Commissioner-elect at this time, is Commissioner-elect Andrew Hulse.
Good morning. A few words before we get all these folks sworn in. I'm Judge Walter Comiskey. I'm your only 100% Ukrainian judge that works upstairs. There's 4 of us up there. And I've lived in Sherburne County for 35 years, and I've been a judge for 9 years. It's a great place to raise a family, which I have, and a great place to work. And this is a big deal for everyone concerned here. So are you ready? And Mr. Unze, I just want to make sure that he doesn't get my big fat head only in the picture. This way or what? Away from the camera. Okay, away from the camera. Getting my best side. And it's Hulse right there. Raise your right hand, please. I, Andrew Hulse, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties and the office of Sherburne County Commissioner to the best of my knowledge and ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Second person is Commissioner-elect Rhiann Danielowski.
Are you all set?
I'm ready.
All right, raise your right hand. I, Rhiann Danielowski, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of Sherburne County Commissioner to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you. Sorry, my name is Thank you.
Next, we have Commissioner-elect Greg Felber.
I, Greg Felber,
I, Greg Felber,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of Sherburne County Commissioner
of the office of Sherburne County Commissioner
to the best of my knowledge
to the best of my knowledge
and ability, so help me God.
and ability, so help me God.
Congratulations. Do a good job.
Next, we have Commissioner-elect Gary Gray.
Raise your right hand. I, Gary Gray,
I, Gary Gray,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties of the office of Sherburne County Commissioner
discharge the duties of the office of Sherburne County Commissioner
to the best of my knowledge
to the best of my knowledge
and ability, so help me God.
and ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Next, we have County Attorney-elect Kathleen Haney.
Raise your right hand. I, Kathleen Haney,
I, Kathleen Haney,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties of the office of Sherburne County Attorney
discharge the duties of the office of the Sherburne County Attorney
to the best of my knowledge
to the best of my knowledge
and ability, so help me God.
and ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next, we have County Auditor Treasurer-elect Diane Arnold.
Raise your right hand. I, Diane Arnold,
I, Diane Arnold,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties of the office of Sherburne County Auditor Treasurer
discharge the duties of Sherburne County Auditor Treasurer
to the best of my knowledge
to the best of my knowledge
and ability,
and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Next, we have Sherburne County Recorder-elect Michelle Ash.
Raise your right hand. I, Michelle Ash,
I, Michelle Ash,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties of the office of Sherburne County Recorder
discharge the duties of the office of the Sherburne County Recorder
to the best of my knowledge
to the best of my knowledge
and ability,
and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Next, we have Sherburne County Sheriff-elect Joel Brott.
Raise your right hand. I, Joel Brott,
I, Joel Brott,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially
impartially
discharge the duties of the office of Sherburne County Sheriff
discharge the duties of the office of Sherburne County Sheriff
to the best of my knowledge
to the best of my knowledge
and ability,
and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. All right, so I know that all of you will continue to do your jobs with courage, dignity, and respect. Good luck to all of you. I've got 40 litigants, happy, unhappy, waiting for me.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
At this time, on behalf of the residents and citizens of Sherburne County, we would like to congratulate all of our elected officials for their election and wish them the best in their service to our county. Congratulations. At this time, the meeting of the Sherburne County Board of Commissioners will go into recess. We invite everyone here to join us for a cup of coffee or juice and a treat in congratulating our officials. At this time, I'd like to reconvene the regular meeting of the Sherburne County Board of Commissioners for the January 3rd, 2023 organizational and board meeting. The next item of business, which is agenda item number 5, is the election of the board chairperson. At this time, are there any nominations for board chair? Are there any nominations for board chair?
I nominate Commissioner Bobby.
Commissioner Lisa Phobie has been nominated for board chair.
Second that.
There's a second. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, at this time, I will close the nominations. Commissioner Lisa Phobie has been nominated to serve as the 2023 board chair for the Sherburne County Board of Commissioners. All those in favor of such, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The election passes. Congratulations, Chair Phobie. At this time, with your permission, I will turn the operation of the meeting over to you.
Thank you, Administrator Messelt. Good morning. At this point, we will move on to item number 6, which is the election of our vice chairperson. I will open for nominations. Are there any nominations for vice chairperson?
I nominate Greg Febler.
Greg Felber has been, Commissioner Felber has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we will move to approve Commissioner Greg Felber. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
Can we get a second?
Oh, thank you. Motion made by Commissioner Danielowski. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Gray. Do I have to do the 3 again? Can we roll it forward? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. Congratulations, Commissioner Felber. You know, when you haven't chaired for a number of years, it's a little bumpy, so let's roll with it today. Before we proceed on our regular agenda, I just want to make a few comments. Just want to, again, welcome everyone today to our first board meeting of the year. I really want to welcome our new commissioners, Commissioner Hulls, Commissioner Felber, and Commissioner Gray. It was 6 years ago, around today, that I sat at this dais, brand new, also with 3 new commissioners. So it kind of brings back memories of 6 years ago. We moved on as a board then to really work hard to represent all of our citizens of Sherburne County. And I come together today confident, hopeful, and optimistic that this board is going to do the same. So I really just want to offer you each a most sincere welcome. I look forward to working with you. And now we'll proceed with our work at hand. So we will move on to agenda item number 7 is our consent agenda. Those you all probably know, consent agendas are typical when you're operating under Robert's Rules of Order. It can sometimes be called a consent calendar, but these are decisions and discussions that are somewhat normal business decisions, and we take them in a single agenda item. I really want board members to know and trust that at any time, any of them can be pulled from the consent agenda. It's fabulous if you can do that ahead of time prior to the Tuesday morning board meeting, but even though things can be pulled at any time to warrant further discussion or further information if so desired. So with that, I would be open to a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, I make the motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion is made by Commissioner Danielowski. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Hulls. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. I'll also let people know that our parliamentarian person in the room is our County Attorney, Kathy Heaney. Sometimes things get a little bumpy, and I might defer to her. If I recall right, after we've done a first and second on the consent. There isn't discussion after that?
That is correct, Madam Chair.
It ran through my mind as I was saying, any discussion? So, next time, we will move ahead. Moving on to agenda item number 8, announcements as listed on the agenda is generally a time that our county administrator briefs us on a number of items. This is also a time if board members have an announcement or something that they want the board to know about, or something critical during that time. Feel free to share announcements. But for today, I'll turn it over to Administrator Messelt.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Just a couple of brief announcements for today. First of all, we want to make sure for calendaring purposes that we are aware of commissioners' intents or desires to attend a few activities. First coming up is January 19th. That is a Thursday evening. It is the annual legislative forum and dinner sponsored by MICA, which is the Minnesota Inter-County Association. It's 14 counties that work together on similar issues. It will be held at the Jack and Jim's Event Center in Dual, Minnesota. The plan would be that if you would let Keisha or I know if you plan on attending, then we can get you registered and also get your meal selection. It is usually a quite interesting event, and they do get quite a few legislators to come. I do note that also that night there is, however, a Big Lake City Council meeting, or excuse me, a joint meeting of the Big Lake City Council, Big Lake Township, Orac Township, and Sherburne County Board of Commissioners, as well as ISD 727. With that, I believe Commissioner Danielowski and Commissioner Felber have been invited to attend that, so staff will split their attendance between MICA and the joint meeting and the Big Lake area. So for Commissioner Hulls, Commissioner Phobie, Chair Phobie, and also Commissioner Gray, if you'd let us know if you plan to attend the MICA event, that would be helpful. Second of all, I would note that January 25th is the beginning of the AMC County Government 101 or 101, or New Commissioner School, it's sometimes called, down at the Intercontinental Hotel in St. Paul. Commissioner-elects, or now commissioners, new commissioners have all been scheduled and to attend. Staff will be down there intermittently as well. But also I was told by AMC that existing or returning commissioners are also invited to attend if you're interested. So if you would let, again, Keisha or I know, it's a very good event, and it'll be hopefully very worthwhile. And then finally, just to note, at this point, the NACO Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C. is scheduled for February 11th through the 14th. Traditionally, we have had participation at the workshop today. When we talk about legislative agenda items, we can discuss who is interested in going if we feel that the federal legislative agenda warrants it, and make some final determinations there. At this point, though, for preservation purposes, we did hold hotel rooms for that conference as well. Just a couple other non-related calendaring notes. First of all, as you know, we're expecting a significant weather event this afternoon. Andrew and his staff have been out quite a bit recently. Kudos to everybody in Public Works for really keeping the roads open and drivable, and I know that the staff will be busy today as well. And then finally, following today's meeting, county commissioners will be receiving an email survey from Dan and Jessica. And Dan's there, Jessica, you're, oh, she went back up? Okay. And that's going to be regarding economic development priorities. We would ask that the commissioners would spend some time and provide input, because that survey is going to help frame the upcoming board workshop, which will be focusing on the development of the 2023-25 Economic Development Strategic Plan. So a little bit important that we can get you thinking about it ahead of the workshops. The workshop is more productive. And then last but not least, just a note for our community and staff, warm wishes and greetings for a wonderful, safe, and happy and prosperous 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. I had one other thing on my calendar. Do we have a Sherburne County Area Township meeting this week?
I have not gotten an invite, but I'll check.
Could you, so Sherburne County Area Township meeting, some of you know, that is a group, they meet quarterly, generally at the History Center. And if you're able, it's a good thing to attend. So thanks, Dan, if you can check on that.
And Madam Chair, and then Dan, you'll let us know one way or the other, right? Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 9 is our open forum. Do we have anyone to speak at open forum?
Yes, we do, Madam Chair. We have one person to
Okay.
speak. It is Brett Collier from Big Lake, speaking on various issues.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Brett.
Good morning. Brett Collier, Big Lake. Did you miss me? Sorry I haven't been able to attend your November and December meetings, as I had to attend to my mother, who was hospitalized back in Vermont, where doctors first said that she needed a pacemaker to combat her heart rate of being 30 beats per minute, but then changed their mind and decided that as 30 beats per minute resting heart rate is not unheard of in a fit marathon runner, in their 20s, my mom should simply be discharged. This resulted in my flying out to Vermont, taking charge of the situation, recalibrating these cardiac doctors, who then implanted a pacemaker on that same day. Today she's fine, having survived the medical profession's attempt to force her demise, much like how the medical profession held administratively potentially life-saving treatment protocols from COVID, resulting in a lot of unnecessarily loss of life. So I'm back to where I can again speak at open forum occasions. So many topics. So today my remarks will be in a coming attractions format, in no particular order. North Star. Ridership is still a small fraction of what it was in 2019. Have any of you not seen the chart in the Patriot showing the current drastic drop in ridership? It's also reported that the rail levy of $0 was supposed to make us feel good, I guess, but we're still funding it through sales taxes. North Star Link, the full-size buses that travel back and forth between St. Cloud. Prior to 2019, many of these 55-passenger buses contained between 7 and 20 people on board. Some buses ran with 0 people on board. Today, the overall ridership is down to 8% of what it was in 2019, and these buses, and today there's what, maybe 2 or 3 person per bus? And we just agreed to spend $84,000 to operate these buses, up over twice of what it was the year prior. Google in Becker. Thank goodness the infamous Google has pulled out of building a data center in Becker. We don't need their dirty money in our community. Consent agenda. Today's consent agenda had 15 items in it, better than last December's 20th, 39 items, over 500 pages of stuff, and December 8th, 32 items, over 470 pages of stuff. You still telling me that everyone has read these documents and agree 100% with them? In the past, I've seen hundreds of thousands of dollars authorized through this process without discussion and questions. This is an abuse of the consent agenda process and needs to be stopped. Tax abatements. Confidentiality agreements. Sort of a personal note, why can't I find copies of my remarks in the minutes? I was told during past open forums, if I hand in a copy of my presentation, it becomes a permanent record. But I'm not finding them in the minutes or anywhere on the website. Am I not looking in the right place? Oh, darn.
Brett, how many more seconds do you have?
30 seconds, one more item.
Okay, thanks. Go ahead.
Election integrity. So much to unpack. I've submitted 7 complaints prior to August 20th, and they were slow walk through the county attorney and sheriff's department, where I didn't receive a response until December 7th. The reports from the sheriff's office which may have been the only information the county attorney used to determine her response, was peppered with misstatements and faulty logic. Word games, distractions, misdirections. It's hard to believe that they were created and reviewed by a professional organization and signed off in any type of good faith. I truly look forward to our future meetings. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. And I'm glad to hear that your mom's health has turned around. So,
Yeah, we'll have her for a couple more years.
yeah. Thanks for those comments. As you see on your agenda, open forum is open to our public. We generally allow 3 minutes per speaker, 15 minutes total during that time. Since it was one speaker, I knew Brett would be sensitive about that time, so let him go a little longer, but, and the other guidelines are on your agenda if you would like to note those. We're going to move on to item number 10, onto our regular agenda. Item number 1 is considering the approval and preliminary and final simple plat of Schroer Estates. So, good morning, Lynn.
Good morning, Commissioners. This item was from our December Planning Commission meeting.
They had two lots, they were in two different plats, and they wanted to combine them into one. This is in Big Lake Township on 19.6 acres in the General Rural District. Planning Commission recommended approval of the simple plat with the one condition listed in your packet.
Okay, so I would open that up to a motion or discussion.
I'll make the motion to approve the residential preliminary and final simple plat of Shore Estates consisting of the two lots with the following one condition as recommended by the Planning Advisory Commission and listed below in the background justification.
So there is a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Felber, and now open for any questions or comments. As you know, and you learned through, mostly for our newer commissioners, this has gone through planning and zoning, gone extensively through our staff. They go through all items like that and is coming to us recommended by the Planning Commission for approval. So any other discussion?
Just to, and the Planning Commission consists of various supervisors from our various townships in our county.
Okay, so hearing no discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried.
Thank you.
Thanks. Moving on to item number 2, consider and authorize the EPA Solid Waste Infrastructure Recycling Grant Program. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Staff is requesting authorization to submit to the EPA a solid waste infrastructure and recycling grant in the amount of $3,630,000. As you are aware, as the previous board is aware, at December 8th board meeting, County Board authorized staff to issue a notice of intent. We have done so. Since that time, we have participated in a couple of webinars to learn more about this EPA infrastructure grant and have prepared draft application materials and working on a RFP, which will now be an RFQ, or yes. And staff will be working with county administrator, county attorney's office, and the risk coordinator in preparation of those materials and to be prepared to submit that application in February 15th. That is the deadline. So today we're just seeking that authorization to move forward.
Okay, so the suggestion is to authorize county staff to submit an application to the Environment Protection Agency for a solid waste infrastructure recycling grant in the amount of $3,630,000. So I'd be open to a motion for that. Motion made by Commissioner Felber. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Gray seconds it. Any questions or comments? I want to thank Dave Lucas for that overview and also want to introduce staff that's here with us today. We've got Gabby Holman and Jillian Carlson. I remember when I was a new commissioner, just meeting staff was a little overwhelming. So sometimes you don't see these people very often. So thanks for joining us and thanks for your work on this.
Gabby has been doing the lion's share of the work on this grant application. And I'm also pleased to, if the board allows, we were notified by the MPCA that we did win the $250,000 grant. It's a recycling and composting grant. We submitted that application back in November. So Jillian and Gabby did that application. So their fine work, the county is awarded $250,000. There's no matching requirement on that as well, and no additional staffing requirements tied to that. We intend to use that grant as we move forward on our proposed construction of a permanent household hazardous waste collection facility. We'll be coming forward with the agreement on that, some paperwork, so future board meeting, you'll see that application.
Great. Thanks, Dave, and congratulations on that.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Dave, can you kind of explain to us why we are working on this as to how to keep our landfills from being filled at the rate they're filling at the moment?
The EPA grant?
Importance of it?
Yes, so the intent is to solicit requests from facilities so that they can be in a position to perform a source separate organics program. And the county then would steer up to 10,000 tons annually of organics to this facility so that we can reduce our overall landfilling. As the RBA states, we have solicited resolutions to our neighboring counties, gaining their support so that those counties can be in a position, if they can implement a program, to steer their organics to this facility as well, because it needs to be a regional type facility, because one facility is not going to be able to live off of just our organics alone. You need a larger input of waste. And that's the intent of this grant. You know, since Great River Energy has ceased processing back in 2009, and I mean, we've seen our landfill double, and it's just only going up. So we're doing what we can to try to implement landfill abatement programs. Organics is one thing that I think we can be successful at.
Okay. So we do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that? Yes.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Hulse.
just one more question. So just what is an estimate on if we're able to implement an organics program, what percentage would we be able to slow the landfill increase? Do we have an estimate on that?
Right now, we're targeting about 10,000 tons annually. We generate about 25,000 tons. Yes. About 30,000 tons. So, yes. We're landfilling about 30,000 tons annually, our county. If we could push about 10,000 tons, that's about 1/3.
Yep.
You know, so that would be a 33% reduction.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, just a postmortem there. Dave mentioned the other grant. We're going to probably schedule a workshop to discuss that one a little more. As you know, part of the direction was that we do a risk assessment of that new facility, and we haven't quite completed that yet. And Kathy and I have talked a little bit about it, maybe even, and Dave's aware of it, doing a little bit of a marketing assessment before we invest that money in the new facility. But this is great news that we can start moving forward pretty quickly. So thanks for great work.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 10.3 with Diane Arnold. This is an annual perennial item where we have to award our publications.
Thank you, Commissioners and Madam Chairman, and congratulations on your chairmanship.
Thank you.
So before you is the RBA, which is to review and approve the awarding of the bid for the 2023 official county publications. And that's for the paper that will be our official. As you recall, back in November, we had requested to submit into the paper to call for bids, which was published twice in our legal newspaper. And from there, from the bids that we received 2 bids. And what we're going to be looking at is the publication is awarded to the low bidder based upon the bids received as of Friday, December 23rd at 4:30 p.m. I just handed out to you, that is the history of the previous awards that was provided to the board at the board meeting, and the calculation on the back side, and the calculation of how we came up with, when they submitted their bids, how the calculation is done to come out to the charge by inch for the lowercase, and the cost that it would be for each of those publications. So I'm just providing with you additional information. The sheet that has the highlighted yellow and stuff on it, that is the publications for the last 10 years from 2012 to 2022, what we pulled together. These expenses and stuff are budgeted in our approved 2023 budget for publication costs. So with that, if you want to turn to that second page, those are the bids for the 2023 publications that were submitted in, and we can go through each one of those. They are awarded individually. And so whoever is awarded for the financial statement, the alternate paper would be awarded for the publication of the financial statement for the alternate publication of that. So we can go through the very first one. The first one on the listing, which we're going to be requesting to approve, would be the delinquent tax list. And as you can see on the calculations, they were just 1 penny difference between there. So the recommendation would be going with the Elk River Star News as the lowest responsible bidder.
Madam Chair, I had one quick question before Diane goes farther.
Certainly.
I'm just curious, when I look at the circulation that each paper has, do we take into consideration that one of the papers delivers to 14,436 as compared to the other paper at 7,219? Is there any consideration to that thought?
That is something that, excuse me, the county board can take under consideration. Is the circulation. I just wanted to be able to provide to you what their recorded circulation was within the county. I do know they have online as well. They both do, so.
Here's some information.
New phone, sorry, everybody. Okay.
So, can we take these all in one, or?
We have
one
to
at-
do them individually.
Individually,
Yes.
so we're first working on the delinquent
Delinquent tax list.
list.
Yep. And that is a publication that gets done. It'll be coming up the end of February into March. It's published twice in the paper of all the delinquent 2022 parcels that haven't paid property taxes.
So what is the wish of the board? So it's a penny apart, there is some circulation differences. I would just like to recognize the area of the county I live is covered very little by any newspaper, so some of you that live in other parts, I think, have a little better coverage, but in the Zimmerman, Princeton, Livonia, Baldwin area, circulation is slim of a newspaper. They can get it online, I recognize that, but it is getting harder and harder. Some of our colleagues in the state, commissioner colleagues that we've talked to, have little to no coverage by newspapers. So just a statement. But what is the wish of the board? We would need a motion for the delinquent tax list to approve the first, or what do we call it?
It'd be the publication for the 2023 delinquent tax list.
And then do we need to do an alternate?
Not for the delinquent tax list, that's
Okay.
only for the financial statement.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I had one comment as well pertaining to what Commissioner Phobie just said, that also in order to get the publication of the Elk River Star News, you have to go through and request it. So it would be free if everybody would request it. So that's just a comment. But like I said, it's hard to recognize the difference of circulation numbers.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I feel the same way. We're looking at a penny for 7,000 more images versus what we're at now with the Patriot versus the Elk River. And as Commissioner Phobie stated, in her area, there's hardly any, and if without the Patriot in our area, in District 4, there would be very little, if none, except for online. Is there, being new to the commission, is there any thought of ever having both just to, to spread the image, the impressions through more of the county?
We are not currently budgeted to do both.
Okay. Is that something that would be considered if it was budgeted later? In future years, at least?
It's something that we had never done before, is published in both of the publications.
New commissioner rocking the boat already, sorry.
And we'll defer to our legal counsel on that, and we'd have to review the statutes as to, because that's what we're following here.
So why don't we work on awarding this delinquent tax listing bid? So what is the wish of the board? I would need a motion.
Based on the larger circulation to people, I would move that we award that to the Patriot Stars.
Okay, there's a
Patriot
first,
News.
Commissioner Felber. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Gray. Any other discussion? This is just the delinquent tax listing. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion has carried.
Thank you. The next one that we will be awarding will be for the financial statement. This will be once the 2022 audit has been completed, and then we do publish our findings and our statements in the paper. So we were, the bids are $12 per inch for the Patriot newspaper and $3.95 per inch for the Elk River Star News.
Okay, so what is the wish of the board for this one?
And as you know, too, the financial statements, when they are completed, each of you do receive a copy of that, and those are also published on our county website, too.
Well, given the significant difference in price on this particular one, I think my personal opinion is that it should be awarded to the Star News.
Okay, is that a motion?
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion
Sure.
to award it to the Star News.
Great, Commissioner made by Commissioner Hulls moves. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Danielowski. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried.
If I could please have you guys make sure you all have your mics on.
You want to press?
Oh, that's important?
You speak if your mics could please be on.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, the next thing we will be awarding will be the alternate publication financial statement. So since the Elk River Star News was awarded the financial, so both of them actually get it. It's the same format and stuff. One is just an alternate, and we do publish in both of those. So then the recommendation would be for the Patriot News to receive the award for the alternate publication of the financial statement. And just for your information, Elk River Star News elected not to bid for that publication. They did put in what their cost per inch would be for the publication if they did it on a regular basis.
So I'd be open to a motion to approve the Patriot News for our alternate publication financial statement.
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
Commissioner Danielowski moves that. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Gray. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried.
Thank you. The next proceedings that we will be awarding will be for the commissioner proceedings. So this will be for all the minutes on the publication of the warrants. Any meeting notice changes or whatever would be awarded for the legal newspaper for 2023. So as you can see, the Patriot News put in a bid of $3.25 per inch, and the Elk River Star News put in a $3.24 per inch bid.
Madam Chair, I would make the motion based on the difference of a penny, but the greater circulation reach of the Patriot, for the Patriot to be the paper for the official newspaper commissioner proceedings.
I'll
Motion-
second that.
Motion is made by Commissioner Danielowski, seconded by Commissioner Felber. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion has carried.
Thank you, Commissioners. I will be notifying the papers of their awarding bids and also letting our department heads know, which will be our legal newspaper then for publication. So our legal newspaper for the 2023 year will be the Patriot News, since that is where the commissioner proceedings is being published.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Diane. Moving on to agenda item number 4. Consider and approve the American Rescue Plan Act update and recommended approvals and expenditures. Dan
Morning,
Weber.
Madam Chair, board members. This week, we have 3 ARPA requests, and they're all under the $50,000 threshold, so they get discussed at one time. The first is a new CGIS password tool for both the county attorney and the community corrections office. This is a 3-year contract, and it would have a $6,000 additional cost after the contract expires. The second is a 3-year contract for a countywide antivirus tool. This would have no ongoing or extra costs that's not already in our budget. And the third is a new process performance tool for our IT and GIS departments. This is a 1-year contract that would monitor our Highland on-base and GIS processes, creating efficiencies for both departments. This would be a 1-year trial, as I said, and IT staff would report back in late 2023 on the effectiveness before requesting any type of long-term agreement. So those are the 3 ARPA requests for this week.
Okay, and we can take these all in one.
All in one for a total of $89,912.
So I'd be open to a motion to approve the biweekly ARPA-related expenditures.
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
Motion's made by Commissioner Gray. Is there a second?
I will second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Felber. Any questions or comments?
Madam Chair.
Yes. Commissioner
Just a question. Once again, can you please clarify the ongoing expense after these, after use of this grant?
Absolutely. There's a 3-year contract for Keepers, which is a CGIS password tool. That'd be a 3-year contract, so starting in '26, it would be a $6,000 additional cost if the county continues with that software.
$6,000 over what time period?
Per year, annually.
Annual.
Yes.
And the functionality of this software is specifically what?
It maintains passwords. Every different website now requires a password, and we're requested through our IT policy to have different passwords for every site, so it's a management tool for individual users' passwords. And this particular software is approved by CGIS or the Sheriff's Office for those offices.
And then the GIS tool that you're for the year trial, can you explain a little bit more about what that tool is going to be used for?
I'm going to turn it over to the IT director for more explanation.
Thank you, County Board. So we've taken a look at some different tools. The one that we'd like to try for a year is called Dynatrace. What it is an AI tool in the cloud. It correlates events from the physical layers within the servers up and through the applications that GIS is building and the county uses, and it correlates performance for us. So if there's any issues within the hardware or within the code, we're able to more readily identify those, is the hope of this trial. It'll prove out that we can, turn around and identify those problems quicker and help GIS and our other applications further improve their performance for the county government.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Brian, could you, is GIS an acronym?
Oh, yes, GIS is, Geographic Information System. So they're the group within Public Works that takes care of all of our mapping values that we see out on, for our parcels, that you can see on our website and get access to, and they do a lot of stuff around the data that goes along with the parcel identification and displays for the county.
And Madam Chair, Brian, could you explain the importance of keeping these things up for our cybersecurity efforts and such?
Yeah, definitely. So like all counties around the the US. I mean, the data that we have on our land and our correlated values is highly important to citizens and businesses within our area to have accurate and, quick data. Our GIS department is working on a new process with our planning and zoning department for a permitting system. So that's one area we see Dynatrace being very useful as they build the new permitting system. If they run into hiccups along the way or issues, we want to be able to readily identify those and turn those around and have them make further improvements in that system for our departments.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? So we do have a motion and a second to approve the biweekly ARPA-related expenditures that are $89,912. So hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Madam Chair
Brian,
and Board.
and thanks, Dan. It also says up here, and discuss broadband grant program guidelines.
That'll be brought forward at the next meeting.
Okay,
Elk River's acting on a motion tonight, so I'll bring that back on the 17th.
okay, great,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 10.5, consider updates to County Administrative Policy Manual. I'll turn this over to Administrator Messelt.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Just a couple of things that we looked at in reviewing the two policies today that we were discussing. One is the operating rules of procedure, and then the other one is the agenda development and review process. So first and foremost, for the preamble, so we have an entire manual, and then we have the individual policies. In the manual, we had not yet updated the organizational chart. In March of 2022, there was an organizational structure change made specifically with respect to reporting relationships of the Assistant County Administrator. And so we are recommending that that be adopted today for the, what I'll call the preamble. Turning to the second policy, which is called the Board Agenda Development and Review Policy, there are two recommended changes that we thought we'd bring forward today. One is to place the open meeting forum at the beginning of the business meeting, and then also to include the workshop. Let me talk about the first. The open forum right now occurs, as you know, partway through the meeting, and so can be, because of the variability of time, there can be an interruption of the business flow, especially when we have people here for items that are scheduled regularly. If we have a large group and the board wants to let them speak, we've had that time frame kind of interrupted. So the recommendation, after looking at best practices, is to hold the open forum at the beginning of the meeting, and that would actually even be before the pledge, the announcements, proclamations, and resolutions. To the board's determination, should you do this, there's not a specific recommended meeting time for the open forum. We can discuss that at the next agenda item when you talk about your calendar. But for discussion purposes today, hypothetically, you could do something like, say, the open forum will occur at 8:30, and the regular meeting will start then at 9. That would give you your 15 minutes for open forum, plus some flexibility, chance to get some coffee and other things before you start your business activities at 9. Or you could start it at 9 and just know that we would then start the regular business meeting at, or the other items of the business meeting at 9:30. And then the second change was to recommend that we include in the policy workshops if needed. So it says if held. They have just not been included as part of that, and they are public meetings, and so we thought it was important that they be in the policy. The second policy recommended for changes is regarding operating rules. First of all, the new mission statement of the county was not reflected in this, so that would be updating that to the new mission statement. The second was administratively just removing a dangling participle. Third was to modify types of county board actions to include a better definition for motions, or what Robert's Rules of Order calls informal resolutions, and then also formal resolutions, which are the written separate resolutions that are numbered and managed. Also following that for board information is, of course, when you adopt an ordinance, which is actually a local law, and then also a notation about proclamations. The fourth change is to also update then the county board agenda, section B, order of business, to reflect the proposed changes that you had in the previous policy, and they're just mirrored in there. And then also finally is to update the citizen section C about audience participation at board meetings. Last year, we had a chance to review the old policy with the county attorney and the county sheriff, and at that time, the then board chair and vice chair. And there were recommendations to change that in terms of really frankly enforceability, which is as a public meeting, our old policy said we could enforce things more than we really could or should. And so as a lesson learned, we're updating our policy to reflect that as a public body, there really is an obligation to hear from our citizens and residents. And so that reflects that change. Keisha, if you want to scroll down just a little bit more. So there are no funding implications from these changes. These are policy changes. I did receive a question this weekend, so I just want to clarify. You're not adopting, again, the entire manual. These are recommended changes only to the preamble and then to the two policies. Because there is a cross-reference here to the ceremonies and proclamations policy, I did include it for board information. This is not a readoption of that policy, and obviously at any time the county board can change or modify its policies. So the recommendation is just that we update these two policies today. If there's a desire to discuss other policies, then the county board can put them on the agenda and discuss it at any time. I'll stand for any questions the county commissioners may have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, or I'd be open to first a motion to approve the updates to the following sections of the County Administrative Policy Manual as proposed. Purpose and administration, county board agenda development and review process, and operating rules.
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
Motion's made by Commissioner Danielowski. Is there a second?
Second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Felber. Open for discussion, questions, or comments?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Hulse.
So referring to what Administrator Messelt said earlier, there is a reference to the ceremonial proclamations and resolutions procedure that was adopted on February 2nd, 2021. Realize we're not considering that today. However, I do have some concerns about how restrictive that particular policy is with making statements of support for certain policies. So I would request that we, at some point in the future, put this as an agenda item or a workshop item so that we could address it.
Absolutely. So Commissioner Hulse, thanks for bringing that forward. We can note that to either have a workshop or an agenda item, whatever seems appropriate.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
I'd like to have a workshop discussion on that first before it would go to agenda.
Okay. Okay.
If that's
Workshop seems to be preferred for that.
Got it.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. Thank you. Moving on now to agenda item to our meeting schedule. Agenda item number 10.6. I'll turn this over to Administrator Messelt.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. What I think would be best to do is just to have, I'll talk strategically here about the two options because we did prepare two of you, and then have maybe Keisha run through the particular schedule. Because of your action just now, we will be referring to option B in your attachments, and the difference is only that, as Keisha's showing you here, we will now list on the official meeting schedule of the county board open forum start times. That means we don't have to do a separate notice, so that at every business meeting you would have open forum. Again, you can adjust the times just for discussion purposes. What I did is start that so that the regular meeting of the board starts at 9 a.m., open forum starts at 8:30 a.m. If you say, no, you don't want to be here at 8:30, you can adjust them. I know also there was some generic discussion at one point about, evening meetings. Right now, this is just your default calendar. Keisha will talk to you about the layout of how it's structured, but I would just note for your discussion, we're on option B. Keisha?
So just to recap what we discussed at the previous meeting, I have not made any changes from those items. So they are kept as the first and third Tuesday of the month, starting at 9 a.m. with the exception of July, which what I recall from our last discussion, we may change that date to not be the 18th, but possibly the week before that. The 1 week in July is also based around conferences. We also moved the first Tuesday, or the first meeting in December to the first Thursday versus the first Tuesday to accommodate for conference as well.
And then as you also can see on there, we've got holidays listed in bright pink. Budget workshops are generally August 1st and 2nd. We have adjusted those a little bit in years past if for some people that seem to want to be in the Boundary Waters during that week. And also listed on there is our TNT hearing, Truth and Taxation hearing, November 30th. So just some to guide us, some framework to get us started. But would open now. Do you have other comments?
Just a note, Commissioner Fovey, or Chair Fovey, there was a comment about that open concept of July 18th. I think one of you had a possible conflict. So as Keisha said, with usually only having one meeting in July, just so your discussion, the 11th or the 18th is the equal balance between the end of June and end of August. So there'd be a 2-week and a 3-week. We can work with either, but I believe there was a potential conflict and you were all going to check your calendars for July.
And the reason why we did pick the 18th, just for those of you who aren't aware as to why, is because with 4th of July falling on a Tuesday and us having to have that board packet out on the 11th, if with that week also people taking time off here, we want to make sure that we allow enough time for us and staff and yourself to review that and get all those items in, which is why we put it on the 18th so that we would have that full week before to accommodate for the building of the agenda and all the items.
Which is a lot. We recognize that. We don't build this just for the commissioners. We also want to accommodate staff schedules with some of this. So.
But again, if you choose the 11th, it just means that we'll actually build it in late June. So we're fine with that, obviously. But that was the logic behind it.
Okay, so before we land on this and approve, I'm going to open it for discussion. So any discussion? Does this work for people? Would they like to see something different?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner.
One item that did come up, and Mr. Hermessel did bring it up earlier, was the idea of having perhaps one meeting a month in the evening to allow more accessibility for public discussion. So I would like to discuss that as a board.
Okay, so let's open that for discussion. The possibility of moving one of our meetings to an evening meeting versus both of them being in the morning. Anyone have comments on that?
Yep, Madam Chair, yeah, I'd be in favor of that also.
Okay.
Just a lot of people have mentioned to me that they feel that the meetings being always on and during business hours are not approachable by the general public.
How would that affect staff? Bruce, could you touch on that? Because most of the meetings that we attend right now, all staff is here. That means staff's got to stay for another meeting in the evening. Does that put an undue burden on staff or you're part of the meeting, Bruce?
Madam Chair, members of the Commissioner, Commissioner Gray, we'll obviously adjust. Most of your department heads come if it's a regular agenda item. With consent items, typically we monitor, like I don't know if you saw, but Amanda's watching electronically and so are others. So we would just ask that the board obviously let us know if something's going to be pulled off consent so that the right staff persons are there. In terms of adjustments of times, most departments allow for comp time within the pay period. So, will it affect staff? A little bit, but I mean, obviously there are other night meetings and we'll accommodate. So if it's the board's preference, we will make it work. But our request would be that staff are asked only to attend if we know that they need to attend.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
is this a decision based on, we're having some conversation on looking at a nighttime meeting? Is this a decision we have to make right now, or can we get some more information for it and look to make that decision when we have some more understanding? I'm not even 100% sure some of our committee assignments have quite a few evening meetings, so I'd like to get a better understanding to do this, what that would affect on the committee assignment level as well.
So a little history, we did this, my first year on the board. This was also a request from constituents. We did it the first year, 6 years ago. We ran it for a year. Participation was slim to none. I'm gonna just say that. I'm open to it. It could only be the first meeting of the month because the third meeting is our Great River Regional Library Board, which we're on a board of trustees for that. That always meets the third Tuesday of the month. So the only option would be the first Tuesday. It does tax our staff differently, and I know they're up for it. They did it for a year, but it is a task for our directors and our supervisors to adjust those schedules and things. And, but it definitely is the will of the board. We do have a number of evening meetings, so once we leave committee assignments, later on you will find you do have evening meetings that meet some of our other entities, so.
Madam Chair, I think too, in respect to what you're saying, I think we should maybe get an overlay of our committee assignments and drop it over the top of this to see where it is, because I know a lot of township meetings, SCAP meetings, things of that nature fall on Tuesday nights already also that I plan on attending on a Tuesday evening, so that would be a different burden, plus the staff issues. I think this should be more of a workshop item that we should look at doing to discuss this further before we make a decision on having a night meeting.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Hulse.
And just one other suggestion. I think I agree with the idea of moving it to a workshop item so that we could flesh it out a bit more. In my mind, it wouldn't necessarily have to be every month.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that those folks that have difficulty leaving work, and I've heard the statistics before about the attendance not necessarily increasing, but I would be remiss if I didn't say that I feel we should still at least provide the opportunity for those folks that have a difficult time leaving work to attend those meetings, but it doesn't necessarily have to be every month. Maybe it would be every other month or something along those lines.
Thank you, Commissioner Hulse. I appreciate those comments. And the other thing that has changed in the 6 years is our ability for anyone to come in remotely. Anyone can join us at any time remotely, but recognizing people work, and so that might not be available to them during the day. I'm hearing a workshop option. Does that feel right for the board? That we kind of mull this over a little bit more in depth, kind of get some more information, possibly from staff. We can all think about it more. Okay, I'm seeing heads nod, so why don't we try to do a workshop on that one of the next 2 meetings?
So can we adopt this at the moment, and then we can always adjust it upon workshop discussion?
Yeah, so the benefit of adopting a calendar is then we don't have to notice every meeting individually, which is technically a special meeting. Commissioner Danielowski, your first question was, do we have time? We did purposefully notice the first and the second meeting in January, so the 17th has already been noticed. If you adopted your calendar on the 17th, we do have time to publish it in time to not have to publish a special meeting from February 7th. So you do have time. However, if you're going to do a workshop on the 17th and not adopt your calendar till the 7th of February, just note I will have to do a special meeting notice for the February 7th meeting because that is not noticed. So yes, you can have time if you want to process it more. The other option would be to adopt the calendar and then modify it, as you said. So you can obviously modify your calendar, then we republish for the rest of the year. The benefit of having a regular calendar out there is not just that we don't have to notice every meeting individually, but also the public gets used to the flow. There is also the option of maybe quarterly scheduling a special evening meeting of the board and have that actually be a workshop. So you don't invite, all staff doesn't have to come. We say, let's say we have 2 workshop items and you schedule an open forum. So we could look and say, once a quarter, you're going to have an evening meeting, maybe even want to move it around the county, and that you just have 2 workshop items and an open forum. So I'll just throw that out as options, but you do have time if you want to table this today and come back or table it to a workshop. I'm not sure they could discuss it today in workshop because we didn't put it on the agenda, but it's totally up to you.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we table this for further discussion in a workshop.
Motion's been made to table. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Felber. No discussion with a tabled item, so all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. So this has been tabled. We will take it up in a workshop at our next meeting.
And I just wanted to point out, because of all the different possibilities that Bruce has brought up, I think that needs to be a discussion at workshop before we make action.
Yes, and to have all of the other committee assignment timeframes laid out over the top would be vital information, I think, to have.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to agenda item number 11, this is always in our packet. Commissioner correspondence, committee reports, upcoming meetings, future agenda items. This is a time not so much for people to just come with their checklist of all that they've done in the last 2 weeks, even though that is important, but perhaps to take it a little further and share with the board. We are all liaisons. We're going to be assigned to different committees. We're going to be on a lot of different topic areas that are pertinent to the work that we do here as a board. So this is a great opportunity when you've gone to a meeting and share that you've done that meeting, that you share with the board items of interest that you think your fellow board members need to know. Possibly even taking information from this board back to that group or inviting that group in to present at a board meeting is going to be important. So, often I've seen and heard board members just kind of list off, like a pecking order. I've done these 8 things. Give us a little more. Tell us what happened at those meetings. What do I need to know as your colleague so I can get a better rounded picture of maybe a topic I don't touch on very much. So with that, we'll open up commissioner correspondence. And if people can talk about what they've done. I know with the newer commissioners, you've been busy in orientation, but share whatever you would like. And then if you do have upcoming meetings or agenda items, like we talked about this workshop for the calendar, if you have other workshops mulling around in your head or agenda items that you'd like our administrator to note or the chair to note, that would be important. So open it up to sharing our commissioner, what we've done in the last couple weeks.
I can go.
Okay, Commissioner Danielowski, you start.
I'll start. It was the last couple of weeks since our last board meeting, due to the holidays and such, there wasn't a lot of meetings get pushed off or not happening for the month of December. But I did attend the December 20th Commissioner Recognition ceremony for 2 of our outgoing commissioners, Commissioner Brandt and Commissioner Schmeezing. And I'd have to say, if you were able to attend it, it was a very good event. I'd have to say, I think for Commissioner Smeezing, it kind of turned into a small roast. It was very, very good. I hope that it was videotaped so people can see it. It was just very lighthearted and very, very nice ceremony. December 21st, I had my SUP Coalition meeting. That's substance use prevention. And they work very hard on getting into the schools, trying to reach our youth in regards to vaping, tobacco use, anything else that is not good for a young person to get involved in. So trying to spread the word. Right now, they're also looking at, it seems like once they feel they make headway in one area, such as tobacco use, then all of a sudden now you've got vaping comes into play. And in vaping, there's other things like THC and such that can get into there. And now they've got the thought of gummies. How do you recognize a gummy from a fruit snack and such? So it just seems they're always having to re-collaborate and try to keep up with what the tobacco industry and other industries are doing. So they're a very good group of people, and they are working hard in our schools to try to assist in keeping our kids out of substance abuse, and if they do get into substance abuse, trying to get them the help to stop. So, and on December 22nd, had a NACO Zoom meeting that was basically facilitated for women in county government. So that was a very interesting meeting. December 28th, attended Tim Dolan's recognition ceremony, and that was nicely attended. And then December 29th, participated in the XL Energy meeting that we all participated in, and I found that to be very, very helpful, the ability to ask questions of the XL Energy personnel in moving forward. And so I came away with, I had a pretty good understanding, but I feel I got a better understanding. So that was a good thing to do. And attended to a few constituent issues, and that was pretty much it.
Okay. Others? You don't have to. You don't have to.
We don't have to.
You
No,
don't
correct.
have to.
No,
I'll give you a pass at this one.
We were sworn in this morning, but I think Bruce has had us busy the whole month of December. The AMC conference, onboarding, things of that nature. I also did attend the Barant and Felix Schmeezing retirement issues, which were great events for those individuals. The Tim Dolan one, attended that on December 28th. Also the December 29th, I attended the XL Energy. And being from Clear Lake Township, we've been involved with XL Energy from the start with all of this. So yeah, that was enlightening to see that all of the other commissioners were brought up to speed on all of that, which I think was very beneficial for everyone. On a personal note, I've visited most of every one of the townships in my district after the election. Haven't hit them all, but will, or the cities, still trying to make a few of those contacts, but feel it's important to get out there and meet with the constituents that actually voted for you. So.
Great. Andrew? Okay. You have a lot of townships, so good for you. Just a few things. It was a little lighter on the holidays, so I had a legislative briefing. We have a lobbying group that works with us on the state and federal level and meet with them every other week just for updates. Bruce, I don't know if we can say anything about 169 and 4 is an effort that they're working on a lot for us, and the good news, bad news is we need an overpass in 169 and 4. Everyone has known that for 25 or more years now. But as you get closer and you're putting the pieces together, whether it's financially or design-wise, I have been in more homes and businesses of people that aren't happy with us now. So it's good news, bad news. It's great, and they all want it, but they certainly don't want it to affect their little slice, and I totally recognize that. So listening to a lot of people getting in homes, which I always enjoy doing. The XL Energy meeting was great. It's always great to sit down with them once a year. Thanks for calling that, my new colleagues. And also participated in the Schmeezing and Brandt retirement, as well as the Dolan gathering. So that is the work that I've been about. Anything else?
We have a workshop schedule on legislative updates, so we can talk more on the Zimmerman there. But I just would note for the board and the community, tentatively, we're trying to put together an event on Thursday of this week in Zimmerman on the overpass. As most people know, on the December 30th, the president did sign the omnibus budget bill, and included in there was $7 million for our overpass. So we're probably late in the third quarter on that project, where we still need to get it done, but that's part of our legislative discussion, kind of that what's next. So
Stay tuned on that.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this when I had the floor, but I see that there's a future workshop for the county EDA priority discussions. Can we also include in there some of the tools that the EDA tries to use, such as TIF and abatement? I think it would be helpful to understand what those tools are and how they work.
If the board's okay, Jessica has a phenomenal presentation on that. So yeah, we can add that as well and make sure that everybody kind of understands that language. It might be a little bit of repeat for some of you, but it is very nicely done and it's pretty compact, I think, Dan, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay.
If Dan does it, it's even
Not
shorter.
to put you on the spot, Dan, sorry. Also, maybe have a discussion too on, when we're talking about our legislative priorities, can we also add just an explanation of our lobbying efforts, who we use, get an introduction as to the firms and the reasons that we do use lobbyists.
And that's the part of the workshop today, yes.
Perfect, okay.
Okay, anything else? Okay, then I'm going to move us through these next items before we take a break. I will be recessing our regular meeting and opening our Regional Rail Authority meeting.
And for board information, there's a separate agenda now you'll pull out for the Regional Rail Authority. And this is new for returning commissioners as well, but based upon advice from the county attorney's office, we now agendize and notice these two meetings as separate meetings, so they happen on the same day, but it's a little different. If you watched last year, we just kind of slip it into the agenda. Now we're breaking them out because the feeling is that's more in the spirit of the open meeting law of Minnesota. So you'll have a separate agenda and a separate packet for this in front of you.
Yeah, so this is a little different, so thank you for your patience if I stumble through this a bit. So first, we need to perform the oaths of office and election of the 2023 officers for the Regional Rail Authority. This typically, we align this with our county board, so we would, if we choose to use that same format, we would award Commissioner Phobie, the chair, and Commissioner Felber, the vice chair. So I would be open to a motion to perform the oath of office.
Chair, you don't need a motion for the oath of
Yeah,
office.
I didn't think so. Thank you.
To adopt the consent item and then have the oath. Or
Okay.
adopt the agenda, I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to adopt the Regional Rail Authority agenda.
Second. And I will second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And then we will move on to the oath.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. As the Regional Rail Authority, I will ask each individual member who has not signed the oath of office for the Regional Authority to come forward to the middle. We'll conduct the oath of office, and then Diane and Michelle will sign the oaths of office here, very similar to what you did earlier. So the first individual requested to come down is Commissioner Hulse.
You want to sign first, or do you want to take your oath first? Probably take your
I think
oath
take the
first.
oath.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to have you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Andrew Hulse.
I, Andrew Hulse.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I will support the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
The Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
And that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of Sherburne County Regional Rail Authority.
The office of the Sherburne County Regional Rail Authority.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Just sign the yellow one.
Next is Commissioner Danielowski.
Okay.
Same thing. We're just seeing how big you are. Throwing you a curveball.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Raise your right hand. I, Rayanne Danielowski.
I, Rayanne Danielowski,
Do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
of
the office of Sherburne County Regional Rail Authority
Sherburne County Regional Rail Authority
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Next is Commissioner Felber.
One more time. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Greg Felber,
I, Greg Felber,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of the Sherburne County Regional Rail Authority
of the office of the Sherburne County Regional Rail Authority
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
And Commissioner Gray.
Thought we only got to do one of these today.
We're just getting started. We're just getting good now. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Gary Gray,
I, Gary Gray,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of Sherburne County Regional Rail Authority
of the office of Sherburne County Regional Rail Authority
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
At this point, Madam Chair, members of the Regional Rail Authority are duly seated and can conduct the rest of the business.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So now, our next item is to approve the Regional Rail Authority minutes from December 20th, 2022. So I'd be open to a motion. Or do, I'm sorry.
May we elect officers first?
This
We
is-
didn't put it on the agenda.
Need to do, elect officers.
Yes,
I have like
and
two
for board's information, normally we just use the same officers as the full board. So there could be a motion made to nominate as Regional Rail Authority Chair, Commissioner Phobie, and as Vice Chair, Commissioner Felber.
Madam Chair. I'll make that motion.
Second.
And there's a seconded by Commissioner Hulse. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. We will be doing this again a little bit
Thank
with
you.
the Housing Redevelopment Authority, so stay tuned. I'm having issues juggling all of these. So now moving on, we'll approve the minutes from the December 20th, 2022 meeting of the Regional Rail Authority with a motion.
I'll move.
Motion made by Commissioner Felber. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Gray. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. And then we will move on to item number 3, to review and establish the 2023 Regional Rail Authority meeting schedule.
And Madam Chair, members of the authority, the recommendation from staff is that it will coincide with meetings of the Sherburne County Board of Commissioners.
So that we would need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Hulse. Is there a second?
Second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Felber. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. Our next item is to approve and set the next annual meeting of the Regional Rail Authority, which will be January 2nd, 2024. With a
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
motion by Commissioner Danielowski. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Gray. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. Moving on to agenda item number 13, we will close the Regional Rail Authority meeting.
More expensive, but. Yeah.
And we will.
Hold on,
mute-
we're gonna mute Amanda, so
We'll
Keisha's
mute.
gonna mute you. Hi, Amanda.
Sorry.
She's muted.
And we will open our Housing and Redevelopment Authority meeting, and we'll see if we can do this a little more cleanly. The other thing I'm dealing with, and you guys will, this will happen once in a while, I am needing to sign on to my electronics every 14 days. You got it too, in the middle of this meeting.
Right.
And I put my password in 3 times, and it's not right. So I'm doing, it has characters, and if you do it really fast, then you get locked out. So it's a class act, let me tell you, right here.
This is Brian's welcome.
It will happen to you too. So I don't have access to everything on my computer right now. So, but I'm still getting messages. Here we go. I would be open to a motion to approve the agenda for the Housing and Redevelopment Authority meeting.
I would make that motion.
Okay, motion's been made and second.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Halls. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. And now we will all again do the oath of offices for the 4 of you.
And the first one is Commissioner Hall.
While I try to enable my password.
I had to turn my phone off because I can't figure out how to shut it off.
We were just here. I, Andrew Holtz.
I, Andrew Holtz.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
The Constitution of the State.
And that I will faithfully and impartially.
And that I will faithfully and impartially.
Discharge the duties.
Discharge the duties.
Of the Office of Sherburne County Housing and Redevelopment Authority.
The Office of Sherburne County Housing and Redevelopment Authority.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Great.
Next is Commissioner Danielowski.
Such a long walk. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Rayanne Danielowski.
I, Rayanne Danielowski,
Do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
To support the Constitution of the United States.
to support the Constitution of the United States,
The Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
And that I will faithfully and impartially.
and I will faithfully and impartially
Discharge the duties.
discharge the duties
Of the Office of Sherburne County Housing and Redevelopment Authority.
of the Office of Sherburne County Regional
Housing
Housing
and Redevelopment
and
Authority.
Redevelopment Authority,
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you.
Commissioner Felber?
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Greg Felber,
I, Greg Felber,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the Office of Sherburne County Housing and Redevelopment Authority
of the Office of Sherburne County Housing and Redevelopment Authority
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
So help me God.
so help me God.
And Commissioner Gray.
Raise your right hand, Repeat after me. I, Gary Gray,
I, Gary Gray,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the Sherburne County Housing and Redevelopment Authority
of the Sherburne County Housing and Redevelopment Authority
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
At this point, the Sherburne County Housing and Redevelopment Authority is duly seated, and they may proceed with election of officers.
To elect Commissioner Phobie and Commissioner Felber to the chair and vice chair respectively for the Housing and Redevelopment Authority.
Second.
There's a first and a second on that. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. Thank you. Then we will move on to approve the Housing Redevelopment Authority meeting minutes that were from January 4th, 2022. So I'd be open to a motion for that.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Gray. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Felber. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. And then we will move on to review and approve the 2023 Housing and Redevelopment Authority meeting schedule, which also will concur with our regular board meetings as needed. So I'd be open to a motion for that.
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
There's a first and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. And item number 4 is to set the annual meeting of the Housing and Redevelopment Authority, which will be named as January 2nd, 2024. And I would need a motion for that.
So move.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Gray. Is there a second?
Second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Felber. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion has carried. Thank you, and thank you for your patience with that. We now will be closing the Housing and Redevelopment Authority meeting, and we will be taking a break. It is 11:03. Let us convene in workshop at 11:15 in the back room. We do that at times, just a little less casual or more casual setting. So we'll see you in the back at 11:15. Thank you.